Hello, and welcome to the interview about 9/11. What is your full name?
Julie Krasnick,
Where are you from?
Huntington Woods,
How old were you on September 11th, 2001?
36.
What do you recall about life before 9/11, including traveling by plane, security at airports, or terrorist behaviors?
Travel by plane was a lot easier. The security check-in was pretty quick and not as detailed as it is now. And I just didn't really think about terrorism or terrorist acts when traveling.
What was your regular life like?
I would say relatively carefree compared to how it is now, what we think about. I had no fear of going into a tall building or traveling on a plane or going to a busy event. But now I think about those kind of things.
How did you find out about the attacks? What were you doing at the time?
It was a Tuesday morning and I was driving to work and I was listening to the radio and I think it was Howard Stern and I heard him say something about a plane flying or hitting one of the Twin Towers. And I just at first just thought it was just a crazy, terrible accident. When I got to work and turned on one of the TVs there and eventually saw the second plane hit, then we knew something was like terribly, terribly wrong. And was the first time I thought that it could possibly be a terrorist attack. I actually didn't even think it was until people started saying that, and I still didn't believe it, that someone could do something like that.
Did you think it was just an accident?
Initially I did, but then afterwards there was talk about a third plane that was headed towards the Pentagon that went down, so then we started really thinking that this was intentional.
Did you see any other plane crashes on TV besides the Twin Towers?
I didn't know.
Were you afraid for your safety or the safety of your family?
I was afraid for the safety of my children. They were both in school. One was in elementary school and one was in preschool. And I was worried that the schools would be a target, so I quickly left work. We closed work. I left and I drove to the elementary school and got my daughter, and then I went to the preschool and got my other daughter and brought them home.
What were your first feelings when you heard about the attack?
I think it was just complete disbelief that it was happening. Scared that it wasn't over, that there was more to come. Just worried about any of my friends that were in New York if they were involved. Just it was a crazy time. It really was.
What do you remember about the nation and its leaders coming together in the days following September 11th?
Well, I think they did the best that they could. I think it was uncharted grounds. I think other countries seemed very supportive. I remember listening to the mayor and the governor of New York and the president. I really don't think they knew what to do, quite honestly.
What do you think the government's reactions to the attacks in the days following and months following after the attack were like?
Again, I really don't think they knew what to do. I know afterwards people talked about they didn't feel like they, supported the health of the people that cleaned up the mess. But I think, again, it was just completely uncharted ground and they just didn't know what to do.
How did you feel about the decision to invade Iraq and why?
My understanding is that was based on the thought that someone in that country or members of that country had weapons of mass destruction and were out to hurt us. So in one sense, I felt glad that we were doing something, but then when I was actually watching TV and just watching our tanks go into Iraq, it just seemed like, I don't know, it just didn't seem like it was going to be all that helpful and really figure out the problem.
What do you believe is our nation's greatest security threat and why?
Right now, my biggest concern is computer and internet security. I'm afraid that someone's going to hack in and corrupt our banking system and just cause a tizzy in the banking world, or who knows, medical records. There's so much that can be affected by the computers, the government, emails, how things work. That's what I'm worried about right now.
How has 9/11 changed our nation or the world?
It's made us a more paranoid society. We're fearful of people that look different or act differently. We're more suspicious, especially like at the airport, where I find myself somewhat looking around at people, wondering if something's going to happen. I think it's a general, can't really feel at ease. I feel like there was a time where, before the election, every single time the news was on was talking about terrorism. And every time there is a terrorist act, it still is horrific. And you just never get used to that.
Thank you. Do you have any last thoughts?
I'm glad you guys are studying this on its 15-year anniversary, and to keep remembering it and understand it.
Thank you.